that I have spent some time looking at Cambridge's sewer shed map and at the awesome city viewer to see the mapping of the sewer lines. And Cambridge has done some great work to separate their sewers. They've removed a lot of stormwater from the sewer system that sends flows to the MWRA's treatment plant, which is awesome. And obviously we look forward to them continuing that. However, and hopefully this isn't too technical, but however, both in the quad and at Mass Ave in North Cambridge, the separated sewer pipes have are joined with combined sewer pipes just upstream of MWR 003 and CAM 401A, the Alewife conduit, and CAM 401B, CAM 001, CAM 002, and Somerville's out of compliance, some 001A, the North Cambridge sewers on and besides Mass Ave. And so if you're following what I'm saying here, what my question is doesn't it mean that sewage from Cambridge's separated sewers are still being dumped into the brook during CSO discharges, since those pipes ultimately are tied into the CSOs?
Kristen, thank you for your question. I'm sorry, we're going to try to keep the questions to a minute just so we can answer as many as possible. I am going to pop to the next person and then we're going to answer your question as a grouping. So Anne, you are up next to talk, and Matthew Carlino, you'll be up after Anne. Anne, you should be able to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Ann McDonald. I live in Cambridge, across the street from Alewife Brook, right near the CAM 004 that got separated. I lived through 2 years of sewer separation construction, and also was rejiggered to the 100-year floodplain from 500 new modeling. And I really follow on Kristen's question about, I thought we lived through this because it was going to make an impact, but now I'm seeing that MWRA outfall seemed high, and I still don't understand, if we're at a grade D right now for Alewife, what's the goal and when will it not smell, and what's the length of time of this next plan? So I'm assuming whatever's in Alewife would be what floods me if I'm in that floodplain, but I just would love to understand these relationships that Kristen articulated much better than I.
Thank you, Anne. Matthew, you will be up next, followed by Michael Quinn. Matthew, you should be able to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Matthew Carlino. I live in Gilman Square in Somerville, a neighborhood that has a lot of sewage overflows out of the storm system when it rains. My question is related to green infrastructure. We received a draft of the Somerville implementation plan for CSO management a couple months ago. And I wanted to point out that there's tremendous economic advantages to GSI, along with community and environmental benefits. City of Philadelphia has, in a triple bottom line assessment based on EPA guidance, determined that they would have a 28 times ROI versus traditional infrastructure, a $2.8 billion return on investment. The city of Lancaster, Pennsylvania determined that their GSI, green stormwater infrastructure solution, would be 45% less than traditional stormwater infrastructure. And Portland, Oregon is on track to manage 51% of their stormwater volume with green stormwater. All of these cities have overarching broad GSI implementation built into their plan. And there's a lot of other benefits, including less tax on the MWRA facility. And what I'm trying to figure out is, why don't we have a regional plan to manage a lot of this with green stormwater infrastructure? Everything from road pavements, fixtures, to rain gardens, tree trenches, all of that.
Thank you, Matthew. Sorry to cut you off. We're just trying to keep it at a minute. Thank you for your question.
Sure. It's an interesting observation that was made looking at GIS, because yes, there are a number of individual streets and neighborhoods in Cambridge where there are separated storm drains and separated sanitary sewers that eventually flow downstream and connect into a combined system. those areas are areas where sewer construction was done over the years. Most of the locations where we have that type of setup were done as part of the WPA program in the 1930s. So they did the work on the individual streets, but the really hard part of it is once those all get downstream, getting that separated stormwater to either the Alewife Brook or Charles River. And part of our sewer construction programs in Cambridge is sort of finishing that work up where the individual streets are done, but the last piece of it is the final separation and having the sanitary sewage go to the MWA system and the separated storm water to go to a receiving water body.